Coeptus is a video game developer from Sweden who went on to building one of the biggest games on the Roblox platform, Welcome to Bloxburg. But how did he go from a nobody to creating a game that has a total of 7 billion all-time visits and going on to selling the game for a $100 million deal? This is the story of Eric Eriksson, aka Coeptus. His age and identity has been kept quite hidden online, but let's take things back to 2009. He had created his first ever Roblox account and entered the rabbit hole of endless creation, not long before stumbling across the Roblox Studio app that can be used to build games. It didn't take long before he fell in love, creating games and figuring out how to navigate through the Roblox Studio with lots of prototypes and throwaway versions of Welcome to Bloxburg. A whopping 5 years later, and Coeptus' life was about to change forever. Skipping ahead to 2014, he had created a new account which we would now know as Coeptus. Under this account, he began working on his new game called Welcome to Bloxburg. From 2014 to 2016, the game was still on private as it was still in development. However, Coeptus did publicly disclose that during this time, the game was an empty base plate at the start, and more features were being added as time went on. On August 6, 2016, Bloxburg was available to play to the public for just 25 Robux. The game is an open-world life simulation that takes place in the fictional city of Bloxburg. In this game, players can work for money, explore the large city, and most of all, roleplay and interact with other players. What captivated the Roblox community so fast, however, was that players could build and design their very own dream house with their friends. There wasn't a game with such freedom and endless possibilities done before. Most Roblox games are based around one specific task or general game loop, but Welcome to Bloxburg was a breath of fresh air onto the scene. There wasn't just one task to complete. The game is how you make it. With 9 updates in 2016 and 27 updates in 2017, the game grew to unimaginable heights. And even with competing games being free to play, Welcome to Bloxburg was still the most played throughout all these years. "2017 was where the game started to really pick up, however, generating 187 million Robux in sales, being the equivalent of $7.5 million. Coeptus was smart. He created a game that required a small fee of 25 Robux to play, and all of the in-game purchases were cheap enough to make players pay for them. And with the game growing in the millions, the small fees started adding up. But this was nothing compared to what he was about to experience 3 years later. On September 3rd, 2020, Bloxburg had one of the biggest updates, causing the popularity of the game to skyrocket. There was a huge map extension and a revamp. There were also lots of small new details added to the game, and the fans absolutely loved it. It gave the game a more fresh feeling. Coeptus knew how to entice the Roblox fanbase more than any other game developer at the time. And it got to a point where almost every popular streamer had played the game at some point or another. So, what happened? With all of the money and fame Coeptus was getting, and with things not looking to slow down anytime soon, he was living his dream life. But this all changed during the end of 2022. The game started to become so big that it was talked about in other gaming communities. Then, a multi-billion-dollar company called Embracer had heard about all the attention that this game was getting and wanted a piece of the pie. This company has bought out games like Tomb Raider, Dead Island, Goat Simulator, and a dozen other games. And Coeptus later received an email from them and booked a call. The Embracer group offered Coeptus $100 million for the game, which was an offer he couldn't refuse. And on December 5th, 2022, the deal was made. Fans of the game immediately started to freak out, wondering if the new owners were going to ruin the game. There were talks about making the game free, which made players that already spent money feel invalidated and overlooked. Thankfully, however, Embracer kept everything the same and listened to the community on how to improve the game and keep its die-hard fanbase. After taxes, Coeptus received an estimated $37 million. No one has heard much from him since, but as one can assume, he's probably living his best life knowing that he never has to work again. He doesn't tweet much and mainly just retweets about updates or achievements for the game. The identity behind Coeptus seems as though it'll be hidden forever, but all we truly know about him is that he's left an everlasting impact on the Roblox community. To this day, Welcome to Bloxburg is still loved by its community, and there's still an average of 90,000 daily players at any given time. It still regularly gets updated, and the fears from players back when the game was bought disappeared almost completely at this point. Embracer is currently doing a good job at keeping the game alive, but it's nowhere near its peak, which is to be expected. And this is the story of how a Swedish Roblox developer went from rags to riches.